Slimehouse TV, myself, Theo Kane. We're just here at the GhostWatch 30th anniversary screening for Celluloid Screams. I'm with some of the creators of GhostWatch, one of the cast members, and someone who made a brand new documentary all about it, celebrating it after all these years. So, first of all, I want to speak to yourself, the writer of it. What is it about GhostWatch that all these years later resonates with people so well?
I wish I knew, because I would make the most of it and make a fortune, so I don't really know. Apart from, I think, 1992, I think we kind of caught something of 1992. It's not like we deliberately looked for something that was going to last 30 years. We were trying to catch something about the time, and it was a certain time between of kind of foothills of reality TV. It was a time when documentaries were using drama techniques, and drama was using documentary techniques. So it was a blurring of the line between fact and fiction. So that's really the sensibility that it kind of came from.
Speaking to yourself as the director of it, I mean, this is the kind of thing that for years it was kind of like an urban myth, because it was only on TV once, and then it was something that we would hear about, like, oh, have you seen GhostWatch? I remember it like almost terrifying a nation. Can you just tell me like a little bit about like what the reception was at the time back in 1992?
Well, we had no idea that people were going to react the way they did. I mean, we were really caught off guard. I mean, the tabloids went mad. There was just, well, we kept saying nobody seemed to talk about what the program was about. It felt like a car crash. The nation was in a car crash.
The other day, when you're making something, all you hope is that some people are going to be interested. You're not kind of thinking beyond that into loads of people, say, either loving it or complaining or whatever, or the chaos or the aftermath or that kind of thing. You just hope that people are going to watch it. So that was what was in our mind, really. So, and when people, I suppose, got scared and angry about it, it kind of bemused us or puzzled us a bit, really, because I didn't think we thought we were fooling anyone. I thought we were just trying to make a drama in a certain kind of guise, if you like.
Yeah.
So it was pretending to be live, but it was a drama. We couldn't have anticipated what kind of ructions it caused, really.
And the clues were there. I mean, it was always in the Screen 1 slot. And it was
always
and it was always in the Radio Times, and there was a cast list and stuff. So you know, I don't know, people. It wasn't like we didn't have the right people doing. You know, I mean, I think having Craig Charles and Sarah and people, as Stephen says, that it made it much more real, and the fact that it was such a domestic
That's what
setting.
sold it to people, the fact that you had Parky on there, who's normally doing serious stuff.
Exactly, legend in his lifetime
absolutely.
Stuff. But I think a lot of the anger was that people felt stupid that they were duped by it. And it's really fascinating. I mean, we met tonight and we said, can you believe that we're here 30 years later still celebrating it? I mean, it's amazing, really.
The funny thing is, over the years, what I've got several times, I always say this, not because it's one-off, because, like I say, it's several times, is someone's come up and said, it absolutely terrified me when I was 12 years old, and I couldn't sleep for a week with I had the light on, that kind of thing, but it made me really interested in making horror films of my own. And that's a wonderfully gratifying kind of result, really, for me, that people not only remember it, but it's a kind of catalyst for people to make their own things.
Absolutely, and obviously we're watching it like it's a live show and it's a live stream, and you all filmed it in one take, but I take it was like not that simple in terms of production. Like, how long was the shoot on this thing? Because we're watching it and it looks like it's all in one night, but I'm sure that wasn't the case.
It was a 5-week shoot. We did we did the house in two or 3 weeks, and 2 weeks in the studio, and it was like taking a great vase, smashing it on the floor, and then putting it back together and hoping nobody could see the cracks. I mean, it was just exploded out and then put back.
In terms of editing?
In terms of we broke it all down so that, Parky had to talk to the wall, which didn't really exist. So, but you know what I mean, that we actually had to feed it to the right moments, so that it was always, everything was down to the last.
And this is all like editing on analog and stuff, right?
It was editing on analog.
Where you can just chop and change like nowadays.
2 huge machines that went from one thing to another, and then if you wanted to re-edit, went again down another generation from one thing to another, and in the end, me and the editor were looking at things like that looked like butter paper. It's been smeared all over it, and we were trying to work because it was amazing, really, because it was a film editor, it was a film department who then had to get on board with a studio department, which had never happened in the BBC. Those two departments had never worked together before.
And obviously filming with, like, I saw the cameras with the giant cables attached. We've done away with all that kind of thing now. I take it like it was also a pretty hectic shoot with everything going on, and you've got all like people, cast members stood outside and stuff. Craig Charles running around doing ad-libbing and things like that. Just tying it all together must have been like quite a feat, and that's why looking back it's so impressive after all these years, I think.
I hope so.
And obviously it's got such a good reception. This is sold out tonight. We've got another sold-out event like later on. I think like tomorrow or something like that. It's gone down really well.
London at the BFI next week.
And you're at London at BFI next week, so this is not the last that we've seen, this big event that we've had tonight. Just yourself, obviously, been such a big fan of this stuff for all these years. I know you said in the Q&A that you first saw this when you were 7 years old. Again, for someone from a different generation now who's seen it all these years later, and then you've made a whole documentary about it, why do you think that it resonates with people so well?
Well, you know, it's interesting, we've been talking about the different departments that were involved in the making of GhostWatch. They were mostly feature, really. The sound designer was David Lean's sound designer and was used to making stuff in studio. So a lot of the elements in GhostWatch, from the script, the direction, the staging of it, which is kind of like green screen these days. It's a bit like shooting chroma, because you've got to act as if there's something there. You've got to act as if you're responding to something. It really adheres very strongly to a very concise filming mentality that generates very good material. So aside from it being wonderfully crafted, wonderfully made, it does have that wonderful charm as well, where you can look back on it nostalgically and see how things have changed, and appreciate, you know, just how much has changed as well. It's the same end game, if you think about it, but the way it's been put together, it's a completely different ball game these days.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you know, with yourself, because you was acting in the studio, was you reacting to footage that had already been shot, or I suppose you wasn't reacting to any actual footage just being told? Because like I said, it's stitched together so seamlessly. It really does feel like you're interacting with the people that are in the video.
We did do. When did we do? Yeah, we did all the stuff with the kids, didn't we? And there were elements that we. So Colin Stinton was the guy from the American expert was just behind the curtain so that they could actually talk to each other. Yeah, but
switching to two mics.
Yeah.
But the wall was always pre-packaged. So you and Parky
had
to actually pace yourselves. And that's when Parky actually brought those skills to bear, because he could fill seconds, or shorten seconds.
Yeah, I mean, we were absolutely on script, but I was, but Parky would go off. So I'd have to link back into the script occasionally, because he'd gone off piece.
We'd say, please give Gillian a hand, and then go. Give her a
but he was marvellous. He was absolutely on board for it and loved it. And in the long goes between, you know, when we're setting up a shot or something, he was just. I couldn't.
Listening to the cricket, wasn't he?
Well, he was listening to the cricket, but he's also a fan of the Great American Songbook. So we were singing songs to each other most of the time, singing Gershwin or something.
It's like you said, it's such a unique combination of studio and like acting and all that, and filmmaking all coming together in one, and one that we've rarely seen, if we do see it. And like you were saying at the time, this is pre-Blair Witch Project and that kind of thing.
Yes.
Probably Cannibal Holocaust was like the thing that come out like years before that. That's even remotely similar to like that found footage kind of thing. Well, I just want to say thank you for your time, because it's been awesome. We've really enjoyed it tonight.
Pleasure.
Just before we wrap things up, how have you found Celluloid Screams as an event overall?
Absolutely brilliant. Coming in here and seeing such a huge audience so excited about being part of it was really knockout. Absolutely brilliant.
Felt like we were at a rave tonight.
Yeah, felt really special.
It was really great.
Well, I'm glad you had such a good time. Well, thank you so much for coming down tonight and for agreeing to do this little talk. Celluloid Screams, Slimehouse TV, myself, Theo Kane. Boom. Awesome.